Hello friends, today I am going to do the chart analysis of ACE stock market investor and a person who passed away very early, though health issues were apparent when you saw him on television like most of you did, and he had just started a new airline, that is Shri Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. And I had read a note that he had written once. He had said that I have everything. Money has made me buy a Mercedes car instead of a Maruti. It has made me live in the poshest area of this country instead of where the middle class live. But what it has taken away from me is my health. And that is what he yearned for. So let us take a look at his chart. And frankly, till about 3 or 4 years back, I had not heard of Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. But then, like all of you, I came to know that he is worth so much. 40 or 50,000 crore rupees, that is a lot of money. So as you will see that he was born on 5th July 1960 at 12:15 hours or PM in Mumbai. I have not done any birth time determination. This is the birth details available publicly. He is an ascendant Virgo. Ascendant Virgos are realists. They have a lot of drive in them and they are very pushy. They get their way through. So the Lagna house has a major impact on one's life. It makes the person. So Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala must have been a realist, one whose assessments were always based on practical, on the ground realities. And he must have been a very, very practical person. And his Virgo is at, if you just give me, at around 14 degrees, which is pretty good. It's a pretty solid Virgo, around 15 degrees. Around 15 degrees, any planet around 15 degrees is a good planet. Now let's see the rest of his chart, and you will see as I go through his chart, there is so much stress. There is money, immense money, name, fame. Sometimes he would be known for the wrong reasons also, as there were some SEBI cases. But everything is there, but peace of mind and health is not there in his chart. His third house has moon debilitated. And it is debilitated at barely 1 minute. It's a very weak moon, weak debilitation. That means that this is a very tricky placement because it goes into his second house. So what that means is that he would be an out of the box, ultra emotional and unorthodox personality. Such people are not made for 9 to 5 regular jobs. Such people can't stick to that. They want change in their lives. And as you would see the career of Mr. Jhunjhunwala, he invested in various companies in the stock market, made lots of money from it, and did various other ventures also. He was not a person to stick to one company and retire from it, as I came to know was his father, who was a retired income tax commissioner. So that is a IRS or Indian Revenue Service officer, and such people normally, or his father would have had a very stable moon, but Mr. Jhunjhunwala or Rakesh Jhunjhunwala's moon was debilitated, and such people like change. They are out of the box personalities and driven by emotions, mostly in their personal life or even in their professional life. His fourth house, which is the house of the mother, landed property, wealth, has Saturn retrograde at 21 degrees and Jupiter retrograde, though Jupiter is in its Lord house at barely 2 degrees, or sorry, 4 degrees. So now what this does is, this will give him wealth, landed wealth, property, conveyances from the family side also. But Saturn being the planet of one's profession and Jupiter being in the Lord house makes this very auspicious despite it being retrograde, despite both planets being retrograde. So what that means is, eventually after a lot of struggle, luck would have helped him. In the end, that is, he would have gone through so much struggle, so much hardships in his life, so much stress to earn the money that he earned, but eventually he would have been able to earn it because there is a lot of wealth seen. But this house also starts to cause him health issues, because Saturn, when retrograde, gives you a lot of health issues. And when this is seen with conjunction with Moon, debilitation, so basically there is a lot of stress, tension from one's profession, and then one is sensitive and not able to take the tension. So when such a wealthy person who has access to the best healthcare that money can provide anywhere in the world dies at such a young age, then there are some major planetary considerations or major planetary forces at play, that even despite the best medical care, he could not live a very long life. Because normally you would have seen that rich people who have access to the best of healthcare, they have the best doctors on standby, they are able to live very long. It is only the poor who die early. But this shows that basically your longevity, or whether you will be able to bear stress, is dependent on the chart. So Mr. Jhunjhunwala's third, and mind you, the moon has a slip into the second house and fourth house, give him lot of success, but at the cause of grave stress. His sixth house has Ketu, very powerful Ketu at 25 degrees. Now, basically, this is very bad for sudden health related events. And also this would have made him a rebel. He would not listen to anybody, he would do what he wants. But this would cause him health issues, and he would be oblivious, or he would not care, or he would ignore his health. So despite it, like, let me give you an example. Like, for example, his loved ones, because he has Jupiter Lord House place, so there are children in the picture, would be telling him, Papa, please take care of his health. He will not care. Such is his personality. Driven, single agenda driven. Next, his 8th house is also very interesting. It has Mars, Lord House placed at 17.5 or 18 degrees, but in the 8th house. So if he wants, he can be very good to talk to. He can take people along with him. He can be a good leader. But when he wants, he can also be ruthless, shrewd, and talk bluntly. So he can be a very shrewd businessman. And this placement gives him makes him a Mangalik, or gives him Mangal Dosh, and also gives him chronic health related issues. So if you see his chart right from the start, right from the very early days of his life, he would have had health issues. Normally they start from the person not being careful of what he eats. That's where it starts from very early on, and not taking care of yourself. Then later on, with age, it manifests to the organs. Then when you get more money, more stress, then basically it becomes out of control. So that is what it is showing from his chart. Now we come to the house that made him Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, that is known throughout India as a person who was one of the richest persons in India. Until 4 or 5 years back, nobody had heard his name. And now he had started a new airline also. So his 10th house of Gemini has Sun, very powerful Sun, at 20 degrees, and Venus, very powerful Venus, at 24 degrees. So this house means that he would have power, prestige, authority, immense wealth, be very courageous, enjoy life, have be blessed with a spouse who would be his partner for life. Himself, he would be a very courageous, no nonsense person. He would take decisions like that, like in a snap. He would not delay taking decisions. Sometimes, even if he knows he's taking decision based on emotions, he would take it, but he would know that. So this house makes him one who is very wealthy. And as they say in Hindi, Raj karega jo. Or you can say he has Raj Yoga. And Venus gives him all the material enjoyments in his life. Sometimes it can be a bit too much, because he has passed away in one of the best times in his life. Right now his Venus Mahadasha was going on from 2007 till 2027, and that was his 10th house Venus Mahadasha with Sun sitting there. So this tells that his father was very auspicious for him and vice versa. And additionally, in his Venus Mahadasha, we got to know who the Rakesh Jhunjhunwala is, who this person is, and his wealth would have multiplied many folds during this time. But again, the stress of it all, and maybe his indulgence, in enjoyments at the cost of his health, took his life. Let me complete the whole dasha, his whole lagna chart, then I'll come to the planetary configurations that ultimately I feel, in my most humble opinion, led to him passing away so suddenly, and when things were looking up for him, when he could have become one of the greatest industrialists, among the topmost industrialists in this country. So as I said, his 10th house of Gemini has Sun and Venus. This is assured power, prestige, money, leadership, wealth. Then his 11th house, which is the house of name, fame, foreign travel, had retrograde Mercury and enemy position. So that means that, yes, he would belong to a good family and he would himself make a name for himself. But he would not be known for his diplomatic skills. He could be one who is very blunt, he'd say things on the face. He would be an out-of-box personality who would say things as he sees them. So this is the best profession that he was suited for, being an independent entrepreneur where he was the boss and could just speak his mind. Because he was the boss, the money was all his. But sometimes due to this placement, he could cross people the wrong way, and also there would be some obstacles or some trouble that would come in his way. I'm sure if you Google his history, you would find that there must have been some financial scam or some minor thing that would have, come in the way of his success, at least before 2007, and caused him a lot of damage or bad name or a bad reputation. So this is a mixed bag. This means that he was one who is not always above the board when it comes to having a good name, but a name he would have definitely. And he would not be conscious of that also. This is the chart of a person who doesn't care a damn what the world thinks about him. And last but not the least, his 12th house of Leo again has a very powerful Rahu. This is not good at all. This means, first of all, he would go away suddenly without notice. Second of all, he could incur a lot of losses if he were to relocate to a foreign country far away from his place of birth. So on one hand, it is good that he stayed and made his base in India, and that is why he was lucky. And on the other hand, I am sure he would have had some trouble or some losses, financial losses, in his dealings with people in foreign countries and foreign lands. So if you see that it is not so easy to make money, money comes at a very, very great cost of your health if your planets do not support it. So you, even though you may have planets that will make you very wealthy, but if you can't handle that stress or that pressure, then it'll eat you up, as happened with Mr. Jhunjhunwala. Now he was born in his Jupiter Mahadasha, Jupiter Lord House placed, born in a good family. From very early on, his Saturn Mahadasha, 4th house Saturn Mahadasha started. So he would have been raised in relative comfort, in relative comfort, from a good family background. Then his Mercury Mahadasha came, which means that he would have tried his hands at various things and eventually settled at stock trading. And there also he would have made, initially he would have got a bad name. He would have made some missteps that would have brought him a bad name. So till the year 2000 was okay for him. He would have progressed, he would have made money, but nothing that, makes him stand out as a billionaire. Then from 2000 to 2007 was a 6th house Ketu Mahadasha, which would have impacted his health. And it is during this time that he would have suffered due to some legal issues or, some problem, some money related problem. And that is where the seeds of deep health issues would have set in. Deep set health issues, once they become chronic, and 6th house, and when you go through its Mahadasha, it makes your health condition chronic. And that would have happened when he came out of his Ketu Mahadasha in 2007. We have to remember that he's a very wealthy person, had all the resources to take care of his health. After that, from 2007 till 2027, his excellent 10th house Venus Mahadasha came. And we have to remember that he has 2 planets in the Lord house. Jupiter and Mars are always helping him. They're giving him stress, but helping him also. So the world came to know of Rakesh Jhunjhunwala only after 2007. So there was rapid progress in his wealth, name, fame, authority, all-round progress from 2007 onwards, and it reached its peak during his Venus-Jupiter Antardasha, because his Jupiter was Lord House placed. So imagine, he was enjoying his life with all the material enjoyments. And in his Venus-Jupiter period, that is just before 2020, from 2017 till 2020 was one of the best times in his life, when he would have made so much money, so much name and so much fame that even the Prime Minister of this country got to know who Rakesh Jhunjhunwala is. But during that time, he would have ignored his health and his chronic health condition. At the same time he was making money, his health was also worsening. And what happened is, after his Venus Lord House Jupiter with Jupiter retrograde Mahadasha ended, his Venus Saturn period started from April 2020. Saturn is also in the same house as his Jupiter. So the earnings, basically his hard work continued to produce more and more money for him. But now Saturn is very, very harmful for one's health, even when well placed. So his Venus Saturn was from April 2020 till June 2023, and he could not survive this Venus Saturn Antardasha. It is during this time only that he started this new airline. So professionally he was making progress by leaps and bounds. Sometimes, as I said, he can make emotional investments. So he could have known that he's getting into a risky business area. Airline business is very risky. He was emotive due to his moon. He could take decisions that are for the benefit of the country. I am sure the Honorable Prime Minister must have told him or advised him or nudged him to start an airline because there is space, and he did that as an Indian. But in his Venus-Saturn Mahadasha, the resultant stress took its toll, its final toll on his already battered body and internal systems. And we lost him. So I would end by saying that may God grant peace to his soul. And thank you, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, because you were a true son of the soil.